October 11th. I'm Rim.
I'm Scott.
And this is Geeknights. Tonight, we talk about our fantastical dumpster diving adventure.
Let's do this.
Rain today.
Rain tomorrow.
Rain is awesome. I'm not going to dwell on this. I'm not going to do what I always do and talk about all the crazy traffic I saw or whatever, but it still bothers me that every time there's even a small amount of rain in downstate New York, there's like 100 car accidents immediately on every parkway.
Yeah, because when there's snow, people do try to drive more carefully. They
No, they
realize,
don't.
Well,
There's even more accidents.
well, that's because people suck at it, but they do. At least people who don't. A lot of people without SUVs, they realize that there's snow and they drive a little slower, right? When there's rain, people drive as normal. They don't even think that they don't understand just how slippery the road can be when it's just wet. Especially like if, oil's been building up on the road for many weeks and then it rains suddenly. That's slippery shit.
I do have to say that, usually it's just, someone stupid caused an accident, but I actually got a little bit of a close-up encounter with the people involved in the accident that held me up for an hour and a half this morning.
No.
And I laughed out loud, and the cop looked at me. So basically, there's this bridge, and there's only two ways to get to New York City from here, unless you take like the New York State Thruway, which I'm not going to do.
Unless you cross the Hudson and then cross the Hudson again.
Which would mean I have to take 287, which is a nice road in Jersey, but if any of you are ever in the state of New York, and you see a road that is called Interstate 287, and
It's a very useful road.
But it is a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. Don't go anywhere near it. Abandon all hope.
The Tappan Zee Bridge is included on that road, which is a very
Abandon
long
all hope,
bridge.
ye who enter here. That is the worst road in the world.
It's very useful, though. It goes, straight across.
It goes everywhere you need to go. Anytime you need to get somewhere, that's the road. Except that it's not actually a road. It's a parking lot. It's a 20-mile-long parking lot that goes across the Hudson River.
And the Tappan Zee Bridge is real long, so if you have to pee and you get stuck on that bridge...
I have sat on the Tappan Zee Bridge for more than an hour.
They actually have installed a thing on the Tappan Zee Bridge years and years ago where they can drive this truck down the middle of the bridge and it moves the barrier.
That thing is so scary if you see it moving.
Yeah, it basically moves these giant concrete slabs to the right or to the left to add lanes to the inbound or outbound. You can subtract a lane from the inbound and add a lane to the outbound or vice versa.
It throws those concrete blocks, and they're pretty big.
It's just a thing that goes forward really slowly, and it picks up blocks and moves them back and forth. And it eventually, it moves block, eventually moves the entire lane barrier. But they have that, and it still doesn't help.
Well, part of that is because even if all the lanes were going in one direction and they just didn't let people go the other direction, it's still too many cars.
Yep.
But so I'm driving. I'm stuck for like an hour in this traffic, horrible whatever. And I eventually get up to the bridge, and I see, there's an accident on the bridge. Oh, looks like the police just arrived, probably because they had to fight through the same traffic I've been sitting in. And it's like 5 cars in a line, and they all hit each other, except the guy in the front who didn't cause. The guy in the front was the only one who can't be blamed because he didn't hit anyone. He didn't do anything wrong.
All right.
So,
why did the guy behind the guy in the front hit him in the back?
Oh, probably he was tailgating.
Oh, okay.
Probably. People just ride. People tailgate me all the time.
All right.
And yeah, I'm one of those people who sometimes I'll just make my brake lights turn on without braking and just to see what they do.
I saw a lot of tailgating on Sunday. Lots of barbecues out behind trucks.
Oh yeah, you went to that football game.
Yep.
But
that's what tailgating really is.
So I see that the cop
what you're talking about is following too
The cop
close.
was talking to the second to last person in this line of accident cars. And I roll down my window because he's right there. I'm going to drive by at like 1 mile an hour, so I'll get to hear some of this conversation. And as I roll down my window, I hear the cop say, "You realize this accident is mostly your fault." And the guy starts going like, "No, it isn't. That guy stopped too quick, blah, blah, blah." And the cop's like, by law, if you hit anyone from behind, it's your fault because you were following too closely and you were probably speeding. And at this point, I just started laughing, and the cop looked up at me, and he didn't have an angry look on his face. He just kind of had this look of like, I'd probably be laughing too if I was you.
And I'm
the
a
guys
police
get-
officer and I'm not allowed to laugh. I have to keep this cold and stern demeanor that makes no one like me.
I have seen police officers crack up on occasion, and it's often hilarious.
Yeah.
'Cause
It's
if
got to
you-
be real funny because they practice that stern demeanor.
Yes, they do. They probably go to school for it.
All right, so I want to, while I'm remembering, before I forget, next week, we're going to do all week is going to be Ask Rim and Scott. 4 days, all we're going to do is answer questions from you people. So, if you have some sort of tech question or maybe a video game question or whatever, if you ask a question, make sure you ask it for the right day of the week. And if the question isn't a Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday question, it's a Thursday question. You can ask any question in the whole world.
Nothing is off limits.
Nothing. You could ask anything. Like, what's your social security number? I just won't answer.
Or I'd probably make something up, or I'd give you Scott's
One,
social
one,
security
one, one,
number.
one, one, one. 2.
Actually, if someone asks that, I do have a funny answer, but I'm not going to ruin it in case someone actually asks it.
I'm sure someone will now that we've talked about it.
I mean,
but-
there really is a funny and interesting answer.
Yep. But if you want us to actually answer your question on the show, here are some tips. Don't ask a question with an incredibly long answer. Well, if you do, we'll probably turn it into an entire episode instead of doing just a question. Don't ask a question that could be answered with a Google search. Don't ask a question that has been answered on a previous episode of Geeknights. Don't ask a stupid question. I don't know. I can't really think of anything else while Rim is getting what looks like a Ricola.
Yeah, I don't know why. I'm just coughing a lot tonight.
Yeah, I actually have the throat sickness, I guess, because it migrated from the nose to the throat, I guess, with an overnight drip. But I'm not coughing nearly as much as Rim is.
I just had the sudden coughing thing. I don't know why.
I gave it to you.
Oh, yeah, because that one thread on our forum isn't going to go alight with the idea of Scott giving me a disease of the mouth.
Mono? No. So,
I've already had mono.
yeah. So, ask us questions in the forum or by email. And I guess I'm going to make the deadline, actually, I think Sunday, because on Sunday I'm going to sort of combine all the questions together.
Sunday, I was going to say Saturday at midnight.
Okay. So that's even for you want to make that even for the Thursdays also?
Yeah.
So if we don't get it by Saturday, late, that's when I'm going to go through and sort of, get all the questions together. So, I'm sure, you might ask a really good Thursday question on Wednesday, and I might see it, and I guess if it's really good and I notice it, then I'll throw it in, but I'm going to compile the real list on Saturday, or Sunday, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, we did this kind of thing a long time ago, and it was super fun and really popular, and we want to do it again. And also, we used to plan ahead Geek Nights. We actually have a whole internal system of planning ahead Geek Nights, and we've been busy for a while, and we hit the end of that Geek Nights planning last week. And we've just been kind of winging it since then.
All right, so
what do you got in the news? Because I got almost nothing.
Well, there's this basketball player named Gilbert Arenas. That's all I know about him, is that he's a basketball player, and I guess he's good and somewhat famous. At least in the NBA, United States, whatever, right? So, this guy, he plays the Halo 3. A lot of people are playing the Halo 3. They've made $300 million off this stupid game. A lot of people are playing it. Not surprising that a famous NBA player would be playing it. He can afford it. Apparently, he was, according to a lot of, I guess, evidence that we have here, even though it seems to be anecdotal evidence, but it seems to be pretty certain that he cheated. What this guy was doing is he would start a game of Halo 3, have his friends join, then his friends would leave and he would win, and this would make his rank go up.
You realize that went on in the 90s on like the CLQ and all those things.
And I guess he could afford a whole bunch of Xboxes, so he could really make a machine out of it.
In fact, I did that once to see if it would work. We made a server that gave you a whole, more points than you should have gotten for everything. And a few of us just played on it all the time. And sure enough, there was a time when I was in the top 10, according to the CLQ, of Weapons Factory players in the world.
Yeah,
Partly due to cheating.
So because Xbox Live makes all these things really obvious, they're like, well, look at that. And someone says that they were invited into his party, and then he got booted once he got there, and then he noticed what was going on, and he uncovered the whole thing.
So who cares?
No one, but I just think it's a pretty interesting sort of fluff
I'll bet
story.
there's all sorts of drama about, now he was outed, and I'll bet there's forums all over the internet that are all abuzz about that.
Well, I'm actually, the news I'm getting is from a forum where the guy is saying that he discovered this, and let me reload it, actually, because it might have increased. Hold on. I think these are actually the official Halo forums. Yeah, it's Bungie.net.
Wow.
There are currently 32 pages in this forum thread where they uncovered his cheating ways.
See, it's kind of like with forums, how the conventional wisdom in forums was always to have like a post count thing or some sort of ranking system, and video games do the same thing often because a lot of people want that. But
Well, the reason they do it is because I think Blizzard started it with Warcraft 3. At least that's the first one that worked, is where they wouldn't rank you. They would rank you to say who's the best in the world and stuff like that, but mostly there was a ranking so that if you wanted to play Warcraft 3 and you were a nub, you would get matched up with nubs instead of getting matched up with gods, you know? Because before, it used to be random who you'd match up with. All you'd know was their name.
well, yeah, the only point I was getting at is that whenever you have a way to have a stat generated by any means that will allow a 12-year-old to say that he is better than another 12-year-old, every 12-year-old is going to try to cheat at that system, and someone is going to succeed, thus making the system pointless.
And that's what World of Warcraft is all about, is instead of saying, don't do that other out-of-bounds thing to make the numbers go up, here, the game is making the numbers go up. Play it.
But then, notice how many players say it's cheating if you use a bot or if you level with a macro. I'm of the mind that if any game will let you level up with a macro, then leveling up is not actually an activity.
Yeah, if the computer can do it, why should I do it? Why would I spend my time doing something a computer can do automatically?
But yeah, we're not going to get into that. I think my thoughts on Mamorpagas was perfectly defined by that Richard Garriott thing from yesterday. Man, Scott, you're coughing more than I am now.
Suddenly. I agree with you.
It's kind of passing back and forth here.
Yeah, the passing cough. Maybe we should call this episode Passing Cough. So like the Twit episode naming scheme?
It is kind of the twid.
Yeah, anyway, what's your news there?
Oh yeah, my news. So the actual article is shit. I don't have much to say about it, but there's a lot of meta to talk about around this article. So someone made a list and posted it on the internet, and because
A list on the internet?
because it was about blogging and all that stuff.
Something about blogging.
Of course, it got dug way the fuck up.
Well, it meets the digging formula. I mean, about blogs, it's a list.
That's
A
it.
million digs. There you go. Perfect.
Now,
3 points.
the one thing I'd like to note is that this article claims to be 41 reasons why your blog probably sucks. And it's supposed to be, 41, like, things you should do to make a blog better. But all of the advice here is pretty much, here's how to make a blog that will make a bunch of money with Google Ads. Here's how to make a blog that'll make a bunch of money with other ads. Here's how to monetize your blog. And the other half of this article is pretty much like the distilled like core of what the blogosphere, like everything I hate about the blogosphere and everything I hate about all these bloggers, especially at the bottom here. This last one, things you should never ever do. Openly insult another blogger. The blogosphere is a lot smaller than you think. Insulting bloggers or calling them out will backfire on you, possibly for longer than you'd expect. And this applies to saying things that people misinterpret as insults.
These people.
And also, there's this whole thing of deep linking. And I was like, what? I don't think they know what deep linking means, because they use this term in kind of not the right way. And I dug a little
Deep
further.
linking is when, say, Rim has a website with an image on it, and then on my website, I actually put his image in my website that's loaded from his web server.
Or if I want to link to a story on Fox News, I don't link to Fox News, I link to the story inside of Fox News.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no. Bloggers, when they say deep linking, what they mean is every time you post an article, you should have a bunch of links just within whatever you wrote to other articles on your blog in order to have this incestuous internal series of links that'll make you better for the spiders and better for Google to find you.
This whole sort of culture of search engine optimization and making money from ads, it's sort of like these people have this fantasy. They want to just blog and type things on the internet and not have to work. And
But yet, a lot of these bloggers, like one of these things talks about don't try to run too many blogs. You won't be able to handle it. Like anyone will ever have more than one blog. You get the impression that these people want to run like 4 or 5 blogs about whatever. They don't care what their writing is. They just want to make money from ads and be a blogger.
It's sort of like this. Actually, I would consider Google AdSense to be like a very, very popular video game that pays real money. And these people try to figure out like the secrets of Google in order to try to just make more money by typing into, their web servers or whatever.
Well, I'm going to let them in on a little secret. You know how people always rationalize the blocking of ads of like, well, I wouldn't block a tasteful ad or blah, blah, blah. I'm going to say that I block Google ads. I block all ads. The only ads I can't block are ones that are actually inline text. And you know what? I don't go to websites that have that.
Yeah, I also block all ads. So if your website doesn't have useful content, I don't go to it. It's actually kind of jarring when I see a website with ads because it's like, whoa, that's what that website looks like?
Oh, God, because I don't use Windows much, so I didn't install any Firefox plugins in my Windows. I went to a website the other day in Windows, and there were ads everywhere. The internet is full of ads.
It's scary.
I kind of forgot that there's this... It's kind of like going into the Wild West without a gun. Things of the day. You know, way back when I was a kid, I went to the Michigan State Fair. And at the Michigan State Fair, there was a ride. I don't remember what this ride was called. I gotta find out from my mom what it was called because I'd really like to look up the information about this ride. But I learned as a kid after the fact that the ride was actually banned in most of the country, and it was banned in Michigan not too long after I rode it.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, this ride, super dangerous, and has seriously harmed a lot of people in its relatively short tenure as a carny ride.
Yeah, it was pretty much like during our childhood that all the dangerous rides at amusement parks went away. And they were...
Dude, I was at like Farm City Week, this little festival in Macomb, when... there was some ride that I used to ride all the time because I loved it. We were like one of those spin you around a bunch rides.
Mm-hmm.
And the 2-inch thick chain that kind of drives the whole thing just snapped and flew out into the crowd. It didn't hit anyone. By some miracle, it just kind of flew out into the crowd and hit a lamppost. But yeah, that was kind of scary. And my mom never let me ride it again.
Yep.
Despite my argument that the safest place to be when that happened was on the ride. There's no way it could have hit me there.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
But,
and the fact that it just broke now that they put a just brand new chain on. It's probably the safest ride in the park.
But I'm not going to talk about the dangerous ride because I don't know the name of it and I don't have all the research. What I am going to talk about is this video of a ride that, while not dangerous, might make even someone like me vomit.
It would make me vomit or pass out from dizziness, almost guaranteed.
And granted, I'm a person who once rode the Gemini at Cedar Point 25 times in a row.
Now, the thing with this video is that it's a perfectly normal ride. I've seen this ride in many parks. I've ridden it once or twice. Yeah. But this one is a little different.
I mean, I feel like I should just make you watch the video and just be like, just watch it and see if you can figure out what is different about this ride. But I'll just tell you. So it starts spinning around upside down.
And that's what this ride does. It's an upside down spinny ride. You've probably seen this ride if you've been to an amusement park.
And it doesn't stop.
Someone reprogrammed the ride.
It kind of gets into this cycle where it spins in the perfect way, and it just keeps doing it, and the crowd just counts down, and wow.
Yeah. I mean, the Viking ship, right? The Viking ship goes back and forth, right? And it does.
Some Viking ships go upside down.
Some of them go upside down, some of them don't. But let's say you have an upside down Viking ship, right? It's programmed to go one way, go over the top 3 times, go back the other way, go over the top 3 times, and then stop, right? You could just reprogram it to go over the top 200 times in a row. And that's sort of what this video is, only not the Viking ship.
Luckily, no one vomits.
Yeah, they clapped when the ride stopped. They were like, woo! And I wasn't sure if they were applauding like, yeah, we're awesome, or, yay, this is finally over. My thing of the day. So I've been looking for a multi-tool for some time. You know, you got the Leathermans and the Gerbers.
Yep. Every time we go to Home Depot, Scott's like, I'm going to buy one. Today's the day. And then after 20 minutes, he's like,
But
none of them match my purse and the shoes.
God damn it. The thing is, none of the, I've been looking at those for a long time, and I'm looking for one that has like certain things. Like I need a screwdriver.
And a RJ45 crimper.
Yeah, and a plier, and just one knife. And, there's certain things I need and there's things I don't need. And it seems like they either have a whole bunch of crap I don't need, or they don't have everything I do need, or they're too big, or they're ugly, or they're too much money, right? So I've sort of held on. And I haven't suffered without one, but I think if I did have one in my bag, I'd be using it a lot. Well, another monkey wrench, pun intended, I guess, is just thrown into my multi-tool worries. There's a company called Atwood Knife and Tool. And they make multi-tools However, unlike, say, a Leatherman or a Gerber, their multi-tools do not fold open.
Uh-huh.
They are instead just one solid piece of metal.
I've seen things like that.
And that's it. And this one piece of metal, which doesn't move and has no joints or anything, it's just
So you can't have pliers or tweezers or anything.
nothing that's moving. But it's like a screwdriver and a bottle opener and a knife and it's like 5 to 10 things all at once, and it's pretty cool. It can be like a file, and it's pretty appealing. I mean, it's really small. It does a whole bunch of things at once, and there's no moving parts, and it has a cute name.
Right, so both our things today were kind of lame. Let's just get on to the main
I
bit.
think it is cool. If once you go look at it, and you'll be more impressed. My description was pretty poor.
I mean, I'll just say that my choices were either what I did or Scott was trying to get me to do a salt and pepper shaker.
It was
that
only
both
pepper
looked like
shakers.
R2-D2.
R2-D2 pepper shakers. Isn't that cool? That's cool. I'm getting them.
Right, so one time in college,
A pepper grinder, sorry.
kind of on a whim, but actually the story of why we did this is kind of interesting, and to this day, I don't know what prompted this.
Okay, well, basically,
But
it was the same thing that prompted everything else. You go, and you people, right?
no,
you go,
I think you forget that something specific prompted us to do this. A conversation with
a
on AIM.
website.
No, before that.
All right.
I think Scott forgot what happened.
We went. So websites were talking about dumpster diving.
No,
so we
no,
tried
it was
to do
before that. It was before that.
Maybe you're making something up.
No, because what happened was one day I was sitting at my computer and we had a friend. We didn't talk to this person anymore, but out of the blue he kind of aims me and I'm aiming back a little bit like, yeah, whatever, we're talking. And then he says something about dumpster diving. And I was like, what? He's like, yeah, you guys should totally go dumpster diving, blah, blah, blah. You can make all this money, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, why would you? Because this guy never really aimed me anyway. Like, I hardly talked to this kid.
If anyone ever comes up and tells you, yeah, those online casinos, you can totally make money from them. It's not bullshit. Or there's a way you can game the system. Or yeah, if you totally do this, you'll make money. If they're not doing what they just told you to do, don't do it. They're lying to you.
I wasn't sure if he did it or not, but I talked to him a little bit, and I just was like, huh. And then it just, dumpster diving stayed in my head, and Scott and I started talking about it, and we were like, why would he just talk to us about that out of nowhere?
And if it was really profitable, why isn't he dumpster diving every night?
And then we wondered, is he dumpster diving? I wasn't sure. I asked him, and he kind of said that he did, but he wasn't super clear on it. I was like, where did you go? And he's like, But the seed was planted, and less than a week later, kind of out of the blue, Scott and I got in my car.
Well, there was help from the internet because, like anything, the internet encourages pretty much every activity you can think of. I mean, how many times is there a thing on Digg like, check out this new thing you can do, and then suddenly people are doing it, like buying moleskines or something.
Actually, there's one of those that none of you are going to guess. I don't think anyone out there is going to guess what we're doing, but we were inspired to do something by the internet. But we'll talk about that later.
Matchstick rockets?
I kind of want to make some of those again, even though it never worked.
It worked.
Barely.
It worked.
Barely.
So what else did we do?
Anyway, so we just kind of were like, let's go dumpster diving. So we looked online for like 20 minutes, and then we just got in my car and drove over to Best Buy.
And Best Buy uses a big trash compactor compressor thing, so you can't actually get in their trash.
There is nothing on this earth that would get me to crawl into a trash compactor.
You can't even get in. It's not possible because there's basically in the store, there's a chute that goes into it and a button that activates it, and you have to be in the store to get into that. And if you went into that, there's a chance you could be compacted and killed, and chance you can't get out because it's like a
Turn
one-way
off all
hatch.
the trash compactors on the detention level.
And it'll be quick, too. You'd be dead real fast. And 2, there's probably all sorts of dangerous shit in a Best Buy compactor. God, there's probably staples. Oh, it's death. And 3, there's no exit hole on it. It's because it's taken away by a truck. So
now, I learned that from some Best Buy employees, because a lot of businesses do this now, especially businesses like Best Buy. The 2 main reasons they do that is, 1, they don't want hobos going through their garbage for various reasons. Even though I think if someone's going to reuse something, that's great. But part of it is worry of liability. 2, it's really easy for an employee to just kind of throw something away, knowing that his friend will just go grab it out of the dumpster that night.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the primary reason, is to prevent employees from stealing crap.
Yeah, because, someone returns something, and then it's not going to go back in the store shelves. The store policy is to throw it out or sell it super discount or something, right? But the store policy is to throw it out. They don't want someone, getting it and not paying.
Yep. So undaunted, we continue in our trek, and we drove around much of Henrietta just looking for dumpsters, and then when we found them, trying to convince each other to go into them and look for stuff.
And what did we find? Well, at the Toys R Us, we found...
Let's get to that last, because that was the only success story.
It wasn't really a success story.
Well, first, Blockbuster.
Blockbuster was
We were actually tipped off to go to Blockbuster.
Uh-huh.
So we went to Blockbuster, and we look in, and we see thousands upon thousands of DVD cases, and we think, hot damn jackpot.
We got cases for DVDs and CDs for as long as we'll live.
They were all empty, but they were full-on, real DVD cases, just black.
Yeah, the ones that they use for rentals, just with those, they just had piece of papers in them. So if you just take the paper out, you've got a blank DVD case.
So we filled, a garbage bag full of them and stuck them in the trunk, and we kept going.
We didn't take those with us.
Yeah, we did.
I don't think we did.
I'm pretty sure we did.
I'm pretty sure we didn't
Because we
take
wanted
any.
to give them to the Anime Club. The Anime Club was like, and then we didn't.
Because where are they now? What happened to them?
Probably where everything else went from that dumpster diving. We threw it all away.
I don't remember them being around Colony, so they... Anyway.
Yeah.
There were DVD cases of Blockbuster, not much else.
And we went to the Wegmans, and there was garbage in there, so we didn't go in there.
Yeah, it was smelly and stinky. We didn't want to touch that.
And almost everywhere we went that we thought would be a score with technology was just a trash compactor and no actual dumpsters. And everywhere else we went, the dumpsters were too scary and smelly to go into.
Yeah. At Big Lots, actually, there was a dumpster, but there were actual homeless people diving in that one.
Yeah, there were already people there, and we felt awkward.
There was a homeless family at this dumpster, and we're like, let's go.
Yeah, because there was something, I don't know, it felt kind of sad if I'm a college hipster dude and Scott's a college hipster dude, and we're out dumpster diving because the internet and some guy told us to. And these people are dumpster diving partially for subsistence.
Yeah.
And I felt like I was kind of intruding into this space where I didn't belong.
But at the same time, free stuff.
Yeah. But, before we get to the Toys R Us thing, we didn't really know what to expect. We read the internet, and there were all these tips, but in the end, we both put on, old blue jeans and boots, and I had a pair of bike gloves that I was wearing, because we didn't have work gloves or anything, and...
Work gloves would have helped a lot, because I would have touched a lot of things I wouldn't have otherwise touched.
Yeah, but the cost of work gloves would have totally mitigated any gains.
Work gloves are $2. And
Yeah.
plus we
I point out the gains from our venture. So we're really getting kind of disillusioned because the internet was like, yeah, dumpster diving is awesome. And again, this guy kind of told us to dumpster dive. And to this day, I wonder why he told us to dumpster dive. But we weren't really finding much. And it was just kind of scary because everywhere we went, we were always worried the police would come, or we'd run into scary homeless people, which happened a few times, or we'd run into a stoner, which wasn't uncommon in Henrietta. And then we swing by the Toys R Us.
Thinking, oh man, action figures, gonna be the win.
And jackpot.
Sort of.
Well, it would have been a jackpot. The problem is we didn't follow through with the swing. We kind of ended up bunting and then getting called out at first.
Yeah.
So we're looking in. There's two Toys R Us dumpsters, and one of them had nothing in it, just pallets, broken pallets.
And they had broken cardboard boxes from toys.
But the second one, I look in, and there is more perfectly good bike paraphernalia than we could fit in my car.
Not paraphernalia, parts of bicycles, like a derailleur,
a derailleur,
a wheel, some handlebars,
intact bikes. Bike frames, perfectly functional bike frames, and there was nothing wrong with them.
But there were no total bikes, but there were enough parts to make some bikes.
There were enough parts to make a bunch of bikes.
Yep.
And the biggest thing is there were some bike helmets, and there were a bunch of weird bike buzzers and things and tassels.
Because every Toys R Us is an official Nintendo repair place, but it's also they have a bike repair guy that comes once a week or so.
Little hint. Never take a bicycle to get repaired at Toys R Us.
Unless it was a Huffy you bought at Toys R Us. And they'll repair for free.
Never repair a Huffy bike. I have some stories.
I guess the guy was repairing Huffies, and then all the extra parts got just tossed in the dumpster.
No. I worked at construction, like the summer after my freshman
Wasn't
year
that
of
at a
college.
Kmart, though?
At Kmart, but also at Toys R Us and a few other places. Just kind of, it was construction crap.
Ah.
And at one place I went to, I was doing construction, and an employee came up and said, "Hey, you, come here." And he went to the back, and there were like 4 bikes, and he was like, "Fix these bikes," and then he walked away.
Uh-huh.
And I think that's how a lot of those bikes actually get fixed.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. But I think the biggest score was that there were some boxes at the bottom, and I opened these boxes because I jumped into the dumpster first. And eventually, Scott came in because he.
It was actually a pretty nice dumpster to walk in because it was long and low and flat, and there wasn't much in it but bike parts. Like you stand on the bottom of the dumpster, and they're just bike parts sitting around.
But there's these cardboard boxes at the bottom, and I go to pick one up, and it's really heavy. So I open it, and it's full of, you know those like trick bars that you stick on a BMX bike that you screw on?
You mean pegs?
Yeah, those stupid things that I think have no place outside of the extreme games.
Yep. It was a box of pegs.
And there were many boxes. And I knew from personal experience, I went and looked on eBay later, and sure enough, those pegs, even used, go for not a lot of money, but 15, 20 bucks.
Yeah,
That's not bad.
People want to add pegs to their bikes. There's a whole culture of bike modding, and
So
we
I
had
look,
bike
and
parts.
all of these boxes are full of perfectly functional, usually looking brand new pegs, matching sets.
Yeah.
So we took them all, and it took a while because they were really heavy. We had to kind of like empty the boxes and like work.
No, we
to
didn't
get them
take
out of
all
this
of them,
dumpster.
but we took a good
a-
deal of bike parts.
I took
of
as
various
many
kinds.
as I felt comfortable taking.
We
and
had
putting in my
some
trunk.
pedals and some handlebars and all kinds.
And
all kinds of stuff.
then we're like, hot damn, dumpster diving is awesome. We're going to sell all this shit on eBay and make some money. Not a lot of money, but some money. And we get back to Colony and we unload the car, and it was a lot of stuff. And it took a while because this stuff's heavy and it's all made out of metal. And then we're all our friends. The next day, we're like, yeah, we went dumpster diving last night. And of course, their response is, what the fuck? Why? What the fuck's wrong with you? Dumpsters? What are you, hobos? And we're like, no, look at what we got. And we have all these bike parts. We're like, we're going to sell them on eBay. We're going to make like $500 if we sell all of this stuff.
We thought we were so cool, and everyone else is like, whatever.
Yeah. And we're like, yeah, great. All we got to do is sell this stuff on eBay.
That box, first of all, let me just say right now, in my whole life, I have never once sold something on eBay.
I've never even tried to sell anything on eBay.
No, I never even tried either. And in addition to that, the box of bike parts sat there until we moved out.
In fact, I remember working at DeBella's the summer after that, when we'd been living in that apartment for a long time already. And for various reasons, I came home with a garbage bag full of bread. And I set that garbage bag full of bread on top of the several boxes full of bike parts that had not moved since the day we went dumpster diving.
Yep.
Those boxes, it wasn't like we kept trying to sell them and they didn't sell on eBay. We basically said, all right, we just have to sell these on eBay. And the boxes did not move until the day we moved out of Colony. And on that day, we threw them in a dumpster.
Yep.
The sad thing is, I feel like if we'd followed through, we would have made the money.
Maybe there was a potential for making some money.
I
I don't
looked
think
on
all the
eBay.
stuff would have sold, though.
And there were like 4 auctions for pegs, and 2 of them were up to like $20.
Yeah, but I think a lot of the stuff was kind of used and cruddy, and it would have been hard.
But the pegs were mostly brand new. They were in perfect condition. They were matching sets. There was
I
no
don't
reason they
remember them
wouldn't
being
sell.
so shiny as you seem to remember them.
The pegs were. Nothing else was. All the other parts were kind of scuffy, but the pegs
Whatever.
were fine.
I think the lesson here is that
If someone aims you and says, hey, do X, the default answer should be don't do X.
well, it's that dumpster diving as an activity. I mean, homeless people got to do it. That's what they do. Let them do their thing, right? But it can be a profitable and enjoyable activity because it's about as close as we have to, like treasure hunting, that we have in modern
You know
times.
what? If nothing else, for 2 guys in college who were bored one night, because it's not like we ever did homework or anything or went to class.
Yep.
And we'd already played a bunch of Counter-Strike that day. I mean, what else were we going to do? So we went out dumpster diving. And you know what? It was a pretty adventurous night altogether. And I would never do it again. But I think that experience by itself, like the amount of time I spent dumpster diving that one night, was worth the amount of fun I got in return.
It's sort of like metal detecting. Like, you do it once and you're like, woo, and then from then on, it's the worst thing ever. There's actually some lady wrote a really good article about how she tried to get into metal detecting, and and then eventually realized it was just a stupid and pointless and crap hobby.
Well, what got me was when I was a kid and my dad informed me that all those articles you see about how someone found a bunch of ancient money, whatever, metal detecting, are usually fake and are ads paid for by metal detecting companies.
Yep.
And that seems to be true.
Yep. Metal detectors, all that stuff just going around looking for shit. The thing is, the sad truth is that while one man's trash is another man's treasure, it's true. And while there is a chance you'll find something great in the trash and get it for free, and that's awesome, the amount of time you have to spend to get a good chance of finding anything good.
Our net profit was the negative cost of all the gas I spent driving around.
And the time we spent going looking in things and the dirtiness we got climbing in dumpsters and the risk to our health.
And the risk to, we could have been arrested. We ran afoul of people. And then we had to lug all that stuff out of our own apartment again and throw it away.
Yeah, it's really, I mean, if anyone is feeling adventurous and crazy, I recommend doing it maybe once, but other than that, it's not something
There's
you want to get a
only
habit
one
of.
time you should ever go dumpster diving, and that is if you're
Or
bored.
if you're actually homeless, though.
Well, yeah, but if you're bored and you're in college and someone gets you on Instant Messenger and says, hey, dumpster diving, the stars just align and you're going to go dumpster diving whether you want to or not. Because I didn't want to go dumpster diving. Remember, the moral really was just that it's really weird that guy messaged me out of the blue and I hardly ever talked to him, like ever. And he was like, man, dumpster diving. Like totally out of nowhere. And the fact that it worked and I went dumpster diving, it was like it was an elaborate plot to get me killed. Like maybe he'd hired assassins and they were waiting by the Walgreens dumpster, but we just never went to Walgreens. Like the one place we didn't go is where the ninjas were waiting to kill me. Mm-hmm. I don't know, but it was just weird. And to this day, I'll always remember that I went dumpster diving for no good reason.
Yep.
So I feel like all of you should go dumpster diving.
Well, I don't think I would suggest you not go dumpster diving, but there's something I would suggest you definitely not do. And that is this recent trend of freeganism. Have you heard of these people?
I think we talked about it a little bit.
These people, basically, their philosophy is they're boycotting the evil economic system of food selling and distribution, which
granted, there are problems
kind
with
of
that
agree
system.
with that, yeah. But what these people do is they eat food out of dumpsters. And they got pictures on their website of like someone like pulling perfectly good potatoes out of a dumpster and putting them in a bag, and someone else like getting sealed, unexpired loaves of bread out of a dumpster. Like, hey, look, a loaf of bread. It passed the sell-by date, but the sell-by date was yesterday, and it's still edible today. I got it at the dumpster at the grocery store. Look at this, free bread. And I guess that's cool, but don't do this unless you absolutely have to survive.
Well, the thing is, I remember back when we did our, 10 minutes of dumpster diving research before we went out to dumpster dive. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the websites talked about how most of the food you find is going to be okay. And I just kind of ignored all that and didn't think about looking for food.
I think I have learned enough from my friend who works inspecting food in the state of New York that if food has been anywhere near a dumpster...
Picky. I mean, I'm the kind of person who, if the milk is one day past the day, I really feel uncomfortable drinking it. And I throw away perfectly good food sometimes.
You do throw away perfectly good food.
Just because if I feel like food is bad, it gets tainted. Like it's the psychosis I have where if I think food is bad, even if it's probably not, I really can't bring myself to eat it. But at the same time...
You do have that problem, however...
But at the same time, if I drop food... I'll eat it off pretty much any surface that I've dropped it onto.
You do have that problem. You correctly admit it.
It's weird. Like, if food is rotten, I won't eat it. But if food is dirty, I don't care.
Whatever. But eating food out of a dumpster, even if, like, the sell-by date was yesterday and it's bread in a plastic bag and it's still sealed, probably not the best idea. I mean, stuff could have happened to it that you don't know. There's a reason they threw it out. It's not fit for human consumption, and you might get away with it a few times, but if you make a habit of being like a freegan and you keep eating food out of dumpsters and things, you are going to get some sort of foodborne illness within weeks. I guarantee it, pretty much.
Well, someone at RIT got hepatitis because they were eating food that was coming through the dish line at Gracie's.
Yeah.
Oh, We could do a whole show on Gracie's.
I don't know. Maybe we should expand that, but we don't want to do more episodes on food, though.
No, not on food. Do you think there's food at Gracie's?
Actually, the food wasn't really that bad.
No, it wasn't. But that's kind of the joke you got to make.
Right.
Flush hard. It's got to get all the way to Gracie's. But I actually look back on those days fondly.
Yeah.
Those were good days. But I
Dumpster
guess
diving.
if you think dumpster diving would be fun and adventurous to do, by all means, go do it because it is kind of fun to do it once.
And there are websites that will tell you all the appropriate precautions to take to avoid trouble.
If you're in college, and not on a weekend, but like on a weeknight, especially if you have like class the next morning and it's late at night and only a few of you go, because it's kind of the same surreal experience of watching Space Ghost. Like it's just this weird. You're in a place that you're not supposed to be, and you're doing stuff you're not really supposed to be doing. And your rational brain says, this is dumb. But your Space Ghost brain says, I'm just going to keep doing it anyway. And it's the
thing is, if you before you're disillusioned about it, you go out and you think you're really gonna find something. So remember, with pretty much everything in life, the anticipation is better than the reality.
Yeah, driving around, like we're going up to Best Buy, and I see the big dumpster
and
coming
I'm sitting
up.
there and I'm thinking about like all the Discmen that are gonna be sitting in there in packages. I'm just gonna take them. I get free Discmen.
And I was like, what if someone threw away a scratch TV? Hot shit. Oh man. Oh man.
We get rid of that 70s TV which you didn't get rid of for you, but
that TV that survived a rainstorm and sitting outside for a week.
Yep. But yeah, we got there, and the reality was much worse than what we thought it was going to be.
But at the same time, the reality was only worse after the fact. While we were doing it, there was still that sense of this is kind of awesome.
Yep. Even even immediately after when we got home, it still felt awesome.
Because even the next day, we're like, this was awesome. It was the day after we did it. It wasn't that it became unawesome. It was that we just kind of forgot about the whole experience. We're like, never mind that.
Yep. And we noticed we didn't do it again, even while we still thought it was awesome.
Only dumpster dive in that kind of this is going to be fun way. If you actually want to get stuff, one, go to a Goodwill store. Those places are like the hidden awesome.
Yes, the way to actually get stuff for free or almost free is going to Goodwill stores and tag sales and used bookstores and all
I
that
own
sort of stuff.
3 sport jackets. One of them is okay, but I don't really like it. One of them, because it's from when I was in like high school. One of them is super fancy and awesome. Like it's super expensive, but it was my dad's. And it has to be tailored because it doesn't fit me at all. And the third one that I own looks super good on me. It's like the best sport jacket I've ever owned. And I bought it for like $2 from a Goodwill. And it has a stain on the inside. But you know what?
Rim the hobo.
You know what? It looks really snappy, and I really like it.
Hobo or a
In fact,
hobo?
if you ever see pictures of me like doing live shows, I'm often wearing a sport jacket. It's almost always that $2 sport jacket.
Yeah, so tag sales and Goodwill stores or garage sales or whatever you call them in your area.
And as Emily
are
pointed
far
out,
superior to dumpster
beyond
diving.
that, if you go to a Goodwill store that's in the middle of like a really snooty upper middle class area, you're going to find a lot of designer stuff at that Goodwill. More than you'd expect. Seriously. And it's all like $1.
And this is why when I get rid of old clothes, I put them in the bin that like goes to Africa as opposed to the Goodwill bin, because I know that just someone else in town might buy the Goodwill stuff, but this way it's going around the world, which is farther away from me where I like it.
Also, if you really want to get pretty good furniture and all sorts of stuff like that, or just anything really, go to a college campus in the week before and week after it's time for the kids to move out. Because college kids get a lot of stuff from their parents. I'm talking like full dining room sets and everything. But the college kids are poor. And while parents are often going to give kids stuff once they go off to college, they're not going to give them money once they're already at college. So a lot of kids move out of apartments in summer, and they have all this furniture. They can't afford to store it. They can't afford to get a truck and take it with them. They just leave it out.
Sometimes they leave it out. Sometimes they try to sell it by hanging flyers around
We left
campus.
the Scott had this dining room set that just our apartment was too small, and it was just in the way. And it was a nice set, but we couldn't keep it.
That was like the kitchen table for like my house for like my childhood.
But we just couldn't keep it. So eventually we put it outside and we put a sign on it. And it was literally 59-2, which is our address back then. Come in and give us $5 or just take it. And after
You know what I
day-
saw in Beacon driving to work the other day?
What'd you see?
You know those couches where you lay sideways,
Oh, I really like those.
and it's like roll. It's like just like a rolled up thing on the right one side, and then just flat.
You know, those are very Greek.
Yeah,
That's the kind of thing we'd have to have if
there
we
was
wanted to have a
one
symposium.
on what's the street?
Verplank?
Yeah, there was one on Verplank with a sign on it that said free,
See, here's the thing.
but it was gonna rain,
In college,
and it was sort of like plushy.
the only thing is I will take a lot of furniture from the street. I've done that in the past. I will never take any furniture that is cushy or soft or has cushions because I always imagine
Crabs
that
in the mattress. No,
I always
that's not an
imagine
exaggeration.
that there's bugs in it or bed bugs or something, and I just don't want to deal with
Crabs
that shit.
in a mattress is a very real problem. You mean mattresses are the most scary, but you
If
know
you
you can
see,
buy a
like,
couch and then stuff can start crawling out of it.
If you see a liquor cabinet, grab it. If you see like an end table, grab it. If you see
A chair that's solid, office
a
chairs.
mattress,
Don't
yeah.
never take a used mattress.
God,
ever.
never. Oh, God, don't even buy a used mattress. Used
Unless you
mattresses
need
should be
something to set
illegal.
on fire.
Dude, I wouldn't take a used mattress from someone I knew.
Yeah, used mattress is the worst thing. Oh, I take a used mattress from my mom because I know about the mattress.
I'd probably take a
Don't
used
take
mattress.
a strange used mattress.
Yes, especially if you don't know where it came from.
Yeah. Unless you know the entire history of the mattress, don't take it.
I'd be more inclined to take the mattress that was on fire than the mattress that just came from
At
out
least
of
the
nowhere.
mattress that was on fire doesn't have crabs in it.
At the very least, I'd carry the mattress on fire from someone else's apartment so I can get into my apartment.
Next to the flaming bag of poo.
Yeah.
Anything else to say here?
I don't know. The show kind of went nowhere because what? We went dumpster diving because someone told us to, and we spent 10 minutes researching it, well, maybe 20 minutes researching it on the internet, and nothing came of it.
And it's not the greatest thing ever.
Yeah.
Just go on eBay and find exactly what you want and try to get a good price.
eBay really is kind of a dumpster, and instead of spending time, you spend money.
Yep. You also spend some time.
A plus 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 plus.
Plus, you know, it's not based on luck, so you're saving a lot of time.
This has been Geeknights with Rim and Scott. Special thanks to DJ Pretzel for the opening music.
Be sure to visit our website at www.frontrowcrew.com, where you'll find show notes, links, our awesome forum, a link to our Frapper map, and links to all the RSS feeds.
We say feeds plural because Geeknights airs 4 nights a week, covering 4 different brands of geekery. Mondays are science and technology. Tuesdays, we have video games, board games, and RPGs. Wednesdays are anime, manga, comic nights. And Thursdays are the catch-alls for various rants and tomfoolery.
You can send us feedback by email to geeknights@frontrowcrew.com, or you can send audio feedback via Audio. Just click the link that says Send Me an Audio on the right side of our website.
If you like what you hear, you can catch the last 100 episodes in iTunes or in your favorite podcatcher. For the complete archives, visit the website, which has everything.
Geeknights is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial Share-alike 2.5 license. This means you can do whatever you want with it as long as you give us credit, don't make money, and share it in kind. Geeknights is recorded live with no studio and no audience. But unlike those other late shows, it's actually recorded at night.